I say Ohayo gozaimasu. And thank you very much. It's a rare honor and privilege to be here at the prestigious Tokyo University. And thank you to Fuji-san, professors, scholars, and my dear students. And I'm with two of our cabinet ministers from Malaysia, and of course the Vice Chancellor, Director of International Islamic University. I must of course profoundly thank you for giving me this rare opportunity. Now, we had an earlier discussion, and I was extremely impressed by the innovative ideas of the President talking about a new college of design, which breaks the taboo of universities focusing on particular discipline and embarking on a new venture, multidisciplinary, integrated knowledge, which I dearly believe and passionately promote. And I referred to just now in our discussions the great ideas of a very known Spanish philosopher, Ortega y Gasset, who wrote in the 30s or 40s about rebellion de las masas, revolt of the masses. But he was talking about ideas. He was talking about barbarism of specialization, where universities do not discuss, do not concern themselves with issues of humanity, of compassion, of justice, and balked with particular discipline and specialization, it would breed barbarism of specialization. Educated, affluent, but no concern for humanity. So I thank you again. I mean, and I've given the assurance that our universities in Malaysia will take up the challenge, work with your college, and probably send some bright students other than the bright students here to excel in that field, because this new AI focus, digital focus, but at the same time very concerned about humanity, ihsan, that we encompass in that framework, Madani framework. So this university has a spectacular history, and has nurtured some of Japan's finest minds, scholars, scientists, writers, public servants, engineers, and leaders who helped shape the modern life of this nation. So, arigatou gozaimasu. It's a great honor. Now, let me begin with one of the great modern voices with Japanese poetry, Masaoka Shiki, who believed that poetry should keep faith with real life, with what the eye sees and the heart recognizes. Now we use the eyes, but not the heart. That is a useful reminder in our age. Machines can now produce fluent language, LLM, beautiful images, and confident answers. AI can compose melodious music, simulate the human voice, crooning in perfect pitch. Yet, the harder task remains ours: to see clearly, to judge carefully, and to ask, what becomes of human beings when our tools begin to imitate so much of human expression? Our concern today is the human being, human meaning of artificial intelligence. How we live with systems that can learn from us, speak to us, and advise us, and act for us. This is nothing new for Japan, for it has asked this question for many years in your factories and laboratories, in its long experience with robotics, and in a culture that understands the importance of authenticity and history, and part of the tragic history during the Second World War. Malaysia, for example, also brings our own, of course, limited new experience in this conversation. Ours is a trading nation, long accustomed to working across languages, cultures, and systems. We are already part of the semiconductor supply chain, and we have set ourselves the goal of becoming an AI nation by 2030. And these are the rubber. Beyond the slides and presentations and the PR razzmatazz, what does becoming an AI nation really mean? We must shape a digital civilization worthy of mankind. And this is a major challenge. The growth in inequalities within communities and inequalities of civilization continue to persist. The dehumanization of society moves at an even more aggressive pace with the eruption of military conflicts, outright wars, while the savagery and barbarism of certain peoples and entities not only continue, but have exacerbated. Humanity have not learned much. You look at the history 100 years ago and the contemporary history, leaders, particularly politicians, have learned very little. Universities have this challenge. So as we stand today at the precipice of a massive technological paradigm shift, supposedly signifying mankind's great advancement, these stark realities continue to stare us in the face. The genocide in Gaza, the brutal massacre of schoolgirls in Iran, even as they scramble for cover, the incessant bombardment, daily, hourly, and wanton destruction of Lebanon, and the energy crisis unleashed, the closure of the Straits of Hormuz. To a great extent, the bitter irony is that these atrocities are effectively enabled by the advent of digital revolution, particularly the great strides of AI. Can we, in good conscience, make the claim that such advancements are worthy of humankind? What relevance is humanity we're talking about? And daily we witness doesn't prick our conscience, not dictate of our heart, observe as a new phenomenon, and through, of course, the advancement of technology, new technology, and artificial intelligence. I am not denying the fact that technologies have altered the path of civilization in a very positive, progressive sense. From irrigation to human settlement, to that steam engine and the dynamics in speed and scale. Hence, today, a journey that once demanded planning around the day could be fitted into the hour or minutes or seconds. That is efficiency par excellence via technology. AI is becoming a powerful mediator of human intention. Now, moral philosopher, I am teasing the president. The president is a very known scientist and engineer. But I commend you because you promote this issue of integration, multidisciplinary studies, which is critical to our life and our civilization. So, moral philosopher Watsuji Tetsuro throws light on the word ningen. Is the pronunciation right? Ningen. And postulates the imperative of human relationship. The two characters, nin and gen, carry a suggestion: the person and the space between persons. A human being is never a solitary figure, standing apart from the world. We are born into relation. We are shaped by family, by community, by history, by the affections that pass between one life and another. But in today's discourse, our focus is that space is now being entered by systems that can mimic human interaction with extraordinary ease and efficiency and fluency. But that fluency can be a dangerous disguise. A machine may produce words of comfort without knowing grief, or draft an apology without having wronged another. It may conjure an image of beauty without having stood before the sea and witnessed the golden hour of twilight. Or, to the young, the language of the young, to be really in love without a real partner. Oh, you're too serious, is it, Tokyo? But it will never watch a parent, okay, very relevant to you, and it will never watch a parent grow old or feel the silence after loss. Shakespeare gives us the deeper test in King Lear. Speak what we feel, not what we ought to say. Now, undeniably, LLMs can learn what ought to be said. What they cannot do is speak from the wound, the affection, the remorse that gives human speech its moral weight. Indeed, fervent advocates of agentic AI contend that the solution to this is already on the horizon, if not already realized. To my mind, that still falls within the arena of conjecture. Now, Excellencies and dear students, the first place where many people will feel AI-induced change is work. Now, while human beings have adapted to job disruptions triggered by powerful technologies, today we are looking at an unprecedented paradigm shift, denigrating the human role from one of origination to mere curation and of production to mere supervision. But ultimately, the fundamental question is, has the advent of AI taken us on a path of real advancement or caused us to double down on our imperfections and inequalities? Do we want the advent of AI to fortify the excesses of wrongdoings that have been perpetrated in the name of progress and material growth? And these are not academic postulations. These questions hit us directly once we lift the mask of technological advancement and face stark realities of our life experience. Of course, undeniably, AI will continue to render work more efficiently. But this comes at the price of diminishing critical thinking, eroding the life of the mind, and worse, aggravating the loss of human compassion. Let us not forget our traditional values, such as empathy, consideration for others, which we well know as Omoy Yari. So we're talking about dignity, agency, and trust. If people feel the future works being decided by firms they do not know, models they cannot see, markets that move faster than public institutions, then the question can be as political and economic. But to my mind, this is the cause. This is, of course, not giving excuses, because we are not prepared to face the inconvenient truth. What is it? To justify this new obsession and turn a blind eye to the gross social inequities in our cities, in our backyard, in our countries, in our regions, and the world. And the expanding gap between the very rich, very powerful, and the downtrodden and the weak. Why do we continue to accept as normal the exploitation harlom parlom, the exploitation of men by men, or men by women, or women by men, whatever, because of technological superiority of one over the other, one nation over the other, one society against the other? Now, this poses an existential conundrum. Now, but it's all not new. These questions has been raised time and again by our great philosophers, sages, prophets. For example, here, before the AI tsunami, the great Nobel laureate, Yasunari Kawabata, warns, can you imagine, that unbridled pursuit of materialistic indulgence, much associated with the essence of modernization, could well throw humanity into, quote, shock, trauma, psychological, and spiritual isolation. This is why some forms of work deserve particular care. Teaching, nursing, medicine, craft, and patient work. Some parts of engineering, of course. And what is important is listening to the other human being. AI can assist much in this regard, but we must not allow AI to impoverish human experience. Now, this university, this great university, reminds us of another question, the enduring challenge about knowledge. Every civilization depends on institutions that help human beings and the young to know the world with measure of confidence. A university, a library, a court, a newspaper, a public archive. None is perfect. But together, they give society a way of testing claims, preserving memory, and passing judgment across generations. I believe universities can and must continue to ensuring that we stay on the path with wisdom. You see, I add the term wisdom, not just information, not just knowledge, but wisdom. Because there are different categories. I mean, T.S. Eliot have said that. In Islam, it's called, Sayyidina Ali referred to Lazzatul Ma'arifah, which categorizes between just assimilation of information in abundance, and categorization is knowledge, but there is difference with hikmah or wisdom. Because we cannot overstress the true value of education, it is character building. It's imbibe one with knowledge that comes with it, wisdom. I truly believe that this is a universal value that readily resonates with the young and of course, all of us. It's also a question of AI and AI's relationship with power. The systems, my dear students, that shape us and this new world require data, chips, energy, cloud infrastructure, talent, capital. These are not distributed evenly and fairly. Remember that. You are in a premier, prestigious university. But in the society at large, in nations, there's gross inequality and injustice. In fact, it is clear that globally the digital divide is widening and not shrinking. While you excel, you must also come to grips with the fact that it's a long way to achieve the ideals of education about dissemination of truth and justice, equality. A small number of countries and the corporations hold great influence over the models, platforms, standards that others continue to use. Some technology companies, mind you, in the United States, you hear this, they have begun to speak about a civilizational mission. A small coterie of capitalists, owners, conglomerates wants to decide what civilization entails, what to rationalize wars or national destiny or strategic rivalry, and for them to determine the future of democracy. What crazy idea is that? The whole principle of democracy is participation, is to allow for what is termed as fairness. John Rawls is a political economist, a scientist who talks about justice as fairness. They build systems for armed forces, intelligence agencies, and their platforms increasing help states see patterns, sort risks, and make decisions under intense pressure. This should certainly give us pause. And when the language of civilizational competition becomes embedded in technologies, it breeds cultural superiority and fosters greater digital divide, even as we should ask what else is being embedded with it. Now, sovereignty is not about ownership. It is about the capacity to engage the world without being absorbed by it. It is the ability to understand the system we use, to set rules, to protect our people from their misuses. Above all, it is about preserving the authority and setting the accountability of public institutions. Governments, agencies must be and remain accountable. Now, for Malaysia, AI must answer to development. It's true. We don't have a choice. Because we have to raise productivity. We have to improve public services, support teachers, doctors, farmers, engineers, and civil servants, and help us prepare for an aging society before those needs overwhelm us. But you must resist treating AI policy as a race measured only by speed, efficiency, and scale. The better ambition is capability, talent, infrastructure, data governance, and the confidence to decide where and when AI should be used, where it should be limited, and where human judgment must remain paramount. Artificial intelligence will continue to advance. but it does not arrive with its purposes already written. These purposes will be shaped by human beings, by our laws, our institutions, our markets, our universities, and our moral courage. So, President, students, let us be clear. We are not Luddites. We are all for embracing technological advancement, including AI. But if the machine is to enter our homes, our schools, our hospitals, our offices, our public institutions, and even our imagination, then the challenge will be indeed formidable. The work before us is clear. We must build systems that serve human beings to enrich our humanity, not debase it. Institutions that remain unsirable to them, and societies that remember what no machine can inherit on our behalf: conscience, ihsan, and rahmah, responsibility, integrity, and care for one another. Arigatou gozaimasu.